Macbeth is the first play in the module 2, that is drama. And in this play, we will be looking at a very detailed summary of the play. The play is being written by William Shakespeare, one of the greatest playwrights of any age. This is considered as one of his greatest tragedies. There are four major tragedies written by Shakespeare. It's not that he has written only four tragedies, he has written many tragedies. Out of his tragedies, four tragedies are considered as major tragedies, and this is one of them. So let's look at a brief biography of William Shakespeare. Shakespeare's father was a glove maker, and as a result, he could receive only a grammar school education, which was considered very much low education at that period of time. And receiving only a grammar school education led to many questions among the critics that is it that Shakespeare has only written all these plays, because all these plays we find that they are of very high standard, and a person who has received just a grammar school education could not have written this. So there are many speculations that maybe somebody else might have written and Shakespeare might be just using the name and all that. So he married in the year 1582. He married Anne Hathaway, who was then 26 and Shakespeare was only 18. But he left his family behind around the year 1590 and moved to London in a quest to become an actor and a playwright, which was an immediate success. And Shakespeare soon became very popular, and he also became a part owner of the Globe Theatre, where most of his plays were presented later on. His theatre troupe was adopted by King James as King's Men in the year 1603. Shakespeare retired as a rich and a prominent man of Stratford-upon-Avon in 1613, and he died 3 years later. Now, if you look at the historical context of Macbeth, we find that Queen Elizabeth died in the year 1603, and it is in the same year that King James of Scotland became the King of England. James almost immediately gave his patronage to Shakespeare's company, making it the King's Men. And in many ways, people find that Macbeth is written as a way to show gratitude to King James. And we find that the storyline of Macbeth is taken from Ralph Holinshed's Chronicles of Ireland, England, and Scotland. Even though he has taken the storyline from there, he has done his own alternatives, and he has presented in such a manner that it could actually please the audience and the men of the court, and also being written as a to show gratitude to King James. Now, how do we find that? We find that in a way Banquo is being presented in the story, in the play. Now, the real life of Banquo, we find that he was in hand with Macbeth in killing the king, Duncan. While in the play, we find that Banquo is being presented in a much moral side, where he is not in support with Macbeth, and he is actually doubting Macbeth for killing, maybe he might have killed the king. We find that in the play. So, in the play also we find that Duncan is presented as a nobleman, while in real terms, if you take up the real source, that is the Holinshed's Chronicle, we find that Duncan is being presented as a man of a king who is not qualified to become a king. So, this was seen as a compliment given to King James' ancestry. Now, the other book related to Macbeth, Shakespeare's source of Macbeth was Raphael Holinshed's Chronicle of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Though in writing Macbeth, Shakespeare changed numerous details for dramatic and thematic reasons, and even for political reasons, so that he could please King James and to see a related historical event. Now, for instance, in the Holinshed version, Duncan was a weak and inefficient king, and the Banquo actually helped Macbeth to commit the murder. While Shakespeare changes the story and emphasizes Macbeth's fall for nobility of men and ruled by ambition, and to destroy being by his own guilt. So we find that by the end of the play, Macbeth was in his own guilt. He was being uh, engulfed by his own guilt that he started behaving in a much more like psychic manner. Now, the key facts about Macbeth, the full title of the play, that is the tragedy of Macbeth. It's not that the play is named the Macbeth. The full title is the tragedy of Macbeth. It was written in the year 1606. Where was it written? It was written in England. Where was it published? It was published in the year 1623. Now, the literary period is the Renaissance period. We find that Shakespeare's age is considered as a Renaissance period. If you look at the previous period, there was a dead of literary work. No much works were written. We find a dead age coming up. And only after the dead age, we find a Renaissance coming up. Now, the genre is a tragic drama. Setting is basically Scotland and briefly England during the 11th century. So we find that Malcolm, who's the son of King Duncan, flees to England to make up an army and to rebel back. So we find that the setting being taken from Scotland and also England. And about the climax, many argue that the climax of the play comes up when Banquo who shows up in the play, while the real climax also comes towards the end where Macbeth is doomed or killed by Macbeth.